Step-by-step video editing tutorial from raw footage to polished video with PR and AE. In this easy video editing tutorial, we're going to take your raw, unedited clips, no matter if they're from your phone, a camera, or anywhere else, and turn them into a clean, fun, and good-looking video, step by step. We'll focus on using Adobe Premiere Pro. We'll just call it PR for short, for all the basic editing work, and touch on Adobe After Effects, AE for short, for adding simple, cool effects that make your video stand out. The tricks we'll use are super simple. Even if you're new to PR and AE, you can totally pull them off. What you're going to learn here isn't just a bunch of random clicks in PR or AE. It's a way of thinking about editing that focuses on keeping things clear, moving at a good pace, telling a simple story, and making sure people watching actually enjoy it. By the end, you'll not only know how to edit your footage in PR and add basic effects in AE, but you'll also get why each step matters, so you can use these tips for any video you make. Before we even open PR and start clicking around, or think about opening AE for effects, there's one important thing to remember. Editing is just telling a story. You're not just cutting clips or dragging them around in PR, you're deciding how people watching will feel, what they'll learn, and how they'll experience your video. Every cut you make in PR either keeps people interested or makes them click away. So the whole time you're editing in PR, and even when you're adding effects in AE, try to put yourself in the viewer's shoes, not just as someone editing. Ask yourself, would I keep watching this? Is this easy to understand? Does this part feel important? And when using AE, ask, does this effect make the video better, or is it just distracting? Let's start with the first thing you need to do. Get your raw footage into Adobe Premiere Pro. It sounds super simple, but doing it right in PR will save you a lot of hassle later on, especially when you need to send clips to AE for effects and bring them back. Go ahead and open PR, create a new project, and add all your video clips, audio files, and any pictures or music you want to use into the project panel. That's the place in PR where all your stuff is stored, usually on the bottom left of the screen. You can do this in two easy ways in PR. Either drag and drop the files from your computer folder right into the project panel, or click the Import button at the top of PR. It's in the File menu. As your files load in PR, don't rush through this. Take an extra minute to organize everything so you don't get lost later, especially when you start working with AE too. Trust me, keeping your PR project organized will make moving stuff to AE way smoother. If you have a bunch of clips, group them into folders, PR calls them bins, in the project panel to keep things neat. For example, you can separate them by scene, like opening clip, or interview part 1, camera angle, like close up or wide shot, or what kind of file they are, main clips, the main stuff in your video, B-roll, extra clips to make it more interesting, audio, talking, voiceovers or sound effects, or background music. If your clips have boring names like Video 1, MP4, or Clip 001, MOV, rename them in PR to something you'll recognize like Coffee Shop Clip or My Friend Talking, so you can find them quickly. This might seem like a waste of time for small videos, but once you have lots of clips, or when you need to send specific clips to AE for effects, keeping your PR project organized is a lifesaver. No one wants to spend 10 minutes searching for a clip in PR just to send it to A. Think of this like tidying up your desk before you start working. If everything is in the right spot in PR, you'll work faster and smoother. You won't spend 10 minutes looking for a clip you need in PR, and you can focus on making your video look good in PR and adding cool effects in AE instead of searching for files. It's a small step now that saves big time later, especially when PR and AE are working together. Once your clips are organized and easy to find in PR's project panel, drag your main clip onto the timeline. That's the main area at the bottom of PR where you put all your clips together to edit. This main clip is the foundation of your video, so pick the one that has the most important stuff, like the main interview, the main action, or the opening part. Right now, don't worry about making it perfect in PR. You're just getting your footage into a place where you can start cutting and shaping it. The goal is just to get everything on the PR timeline so you can start editing for real, and later send parts to AE if you want to add effects. Now we get to one of the most important parts that a lot of people skip, even when using PR, watching all your footage carefully in PR before you start cutting. This step is key because it helps you figure out what you have, what parts are good, and what parts you can cut so you don't waste time later in PR. And you don't waste time sending unnecessary clips to AE for effects. Why send a boring clip to AE to add an effect when you can just cut it out in PR? Start by slowly scrolling through your main clip in PR. Use the scrubber tool. That's the little slider on the timeline to move frame by frame. Watch it from the very start to the very end in PR, and don't skip any parts, even if some parts feel boring. As you watch, pick out the best parts, the ones that are clear, look good, feel important, or are fun to watch. These are the parts you'll keep in PR, because they'll make your video interesting, and they're the parts you might want to enhance with AE effects later. Jot down any clips or moments that you think would look better with a simple AE effect, like a text overlay or a small animation. At the same time, keep an eye out for parts that don't belong right in PR. Look for long pauses between people talking or doing things, awkward silences, things that are repeated, like someone adjusting their hair twice, mistakes, like the camera shaking, someone messing up a line or something distracting in the background, or any parts that feel unnecessary. Sometimes these parts are small, like a half-second pause that breaks the flow, or a little background noise, but take your time to spot them in PR. The more you notice now in PR, the less work you'll have to do later, and the fewer clips you'll need to send to AE. There's no point in spending time adding an AE effect to a clip you're just going to cut out in PR. A good editor using PR and AE doesn't just watch what's happening, they think about how it feels to someone watching. Does this part keep you interested? Does it help the video flow in PR? Does it add something important? If the answer is no, you can probably cut it out in PR. Remember, editing in PR is just as much about what you take out as what you keep. Sometimes less is more, and cutting out the boring parts in PR will make your video better, even before you add any AE effects. And when you do use AE, make sure the effect serves the video, not the other way around. Once you've watched all your footage in PR and picked out the good parts and the ones to cut, it's time to start cutting. That's the fun part in PR, where you start turning your raw clips into a real video. You won't need AE for this part. All the cutting and trimming happens right in PR, which is perfect because PR is made for this kind of basic editing work. Grab the razor tool in PR. That's the tool that looks like a little razor blade, usually in the toolbar on the left of the screen, and start trimming away the parts you don't want on the timeline. Focus on making your video move at a good pace in PR. Cut out anything that slows it down, distracts from what you're trying to say, or feels out of place. For example, if there's a 5-second pause after someone finishes talking in PR, cut it down to 1 second to keep things moving. If someone does the same thing twice, like wave hello twice, cut out the second time in PR to avoid repeating yourself. This is all basic PR stuff. But it's crucial get this right, and adding AE effects later will make your video shine even more. When you cut in PR, make sure you have a reason for each cut. Don't just cut randomly. A common mistake new PR users make is leaving too much space between people talking or doing things on the timeline, which makes the video feel slow and boring. Instead, try to keep the pace natural but snappy in PR so people watching don't get bored, but also don't feel rushed. This will make your video flow better, and when you add AE effects later, they'll fit in seamlessly instead of feeling like an afterthought. As you cut in PR, your timeline will start to have lots of small clips, and that's totally normal. What you're making here is your rough cut in PR, the first version of your video. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to have smooth transitions or great audio yet. And you don't need to add any AE effects right now. It just needs to have all the good parts in the right order in PR. Think of it as a first draft. You'll make it better in PR later, and then add AE effects to make it pop. But for now, just get the main story down in PR. After you finish your rough cut in PR, step away from your computer for a minute or two to clear your head. Then come back and watch the whole thing again in PR with fresh eyes. This break helps you see your video more objectively. You'll notice things you didn't see when you were in the middle of cutting in PR, like a clip that's out of place or a pause that's too long. This is also a good time to note any parts that would benefit from an AE effect, like a title screen or a small animation to highlight a key moment. Now it's time to rearrange your clips in PR to make sure everything flows well. This is where you'll make sure your video makes sense and is easy to watch, and it's all done in PR, no AE needed yet. Getting the flow right in PR first will make adding AE effects later much easier, because you'll know exactly where effects will have the most impact. Ask yourself 3 simple questions as you move clips around in PR's timeline. Does this make sense to someone who hasn't seen the raw footage? Does it move smoothly from one clip to the next in PR, or is there a weird jump that might confuse people? Is the story easy to follow, with a clear start, middle, and end? These questions will help you make sure your video is easy to understand in PR before you add any AE effects. Remember, AE effects are there to enhance the video, not fix a bad flow in PR. If something feels off in PR, like a clip is in the wrong place, or moving from one clip to the next feels weird, don't be afraid to move it on the timeline. Editing in PR is flexible. There's no right way to arrange your clips. Experiment with different orders in PR until it feels right. You might move a good part earlier to hook people, or rearrange a few clips in PR to make it more exciting. And as you do this, keep in mind which parts might need an AE effect, for example. A key moment that could use a simple text overlay in AE to make it stand out. This is where editing in PR gets creative, and where AE can come in to take it to the next level. The same clips can feel totally different depending on how you arrange them in PR, and adding a simple AE effect can make a good moment great. For example, if you put a reaction clip, like someone laughing or looking surprised before the thing that made them react in PR, it builds suspense. People will wonder what happened. Then, you could add a small AE animation, like a little pop or a fade, to the reaction clip to make it even more impactful. If you put the reaction after in PR, it emphasizes how important that moment was, and an AE effect could help highlight that emotion. These small changes in PR, paired with simple AE effects, can totally change how people feel about your video. If you need to be more precise when moving or cutting clips in PR, zoom in on the timeline. There's a zoom slider at the bottom of PR screen. Zooming in lets you see individual frames in PR, so you can adjust your cuts more carefully. Even moving a cut by a few frames in PR can make it feel smoother, like cutting right when someone finishes talking instead of a split second later makes the conversation feel more natural. This precision in PR will make your video flow better, and when you add AE effects, they'll line up perfectly with the footage. Once your clips are in a good order that flows well in PR, it's time to make your video better, polishing the rough cut in PR to make it look more put together, and then thinking about which parts to enhance with AE. This is where PR and AE start working together to make your video look professional without being complicated. Start by watching the whole video from start to finish in PR and pay attention to the pace. Does it move at a good speed in PR? Or are there parts that feel too slow so people might get bored, or too fast so people can't keep up? Notice how each clip moves to the next in PR. Are there any weird gaps or sudden cuts that break the flow? This is also a good time to finalize which parts you want to send to AE for effects. For example, if there's a title screen you want to add, or a moment where you want to highlight text, those are perfect for AE. Adjust the time between clips in PR to make it flow better. Sometimes adding a tiny pause, just a split second between 2 clips in PR, can make a moment feel more important, like after a big statement or a cool shot. Other times, making the gap smaller in PR can make the video more energetic, which is great for tutorials, vlogs, or short videos. Once the flow is perfect in PR, you can start thinking about adding AE effects to the parts that need a little extra boost. This is also when you can add simple transitions in PR, things like fades or dissolves. But don't overdo it in PR. Most of the time, a simple cut, where one clip ends and the next starts right away in PR, is the best choice. It looks clean and professional. If you do use transitions in PR, keep them simple and only use them when they make sense, like a fade to black to end a section, or a soft dissolve to move from one scene to another. For more fun or creative transitions, you could use AE, but stick to simple ones in PR to keep the focus on the content. Don't use flashy transitions in PR or AE that distract from your video. Now, take a look at how your clips look in PR. Make sure they all look consistent. A video where all the clips have the same brightness, contrast, and color in PR looks more put together, and it will make any AE effects you add later look better too. If one clip is really bright and another is dark in PR, it will feel messy and unprofessional, even with AE effects. So fix this in PR first before moving to AE. Spend a few minutes checking all your clips in PR. Do they look the same in terms of brightness, contrast, and color? If one clip looks different, like it was shot in a different light, use the basic tools in PR to adjust it. PR has simple sliders for brightness, contrast, or white balance. You can find them in the Effects Control panel or by right-clicking a clip and selecting Adjustments. You don't need to be a pro here, just make sure they look similar in PR. Even small changes, like turning up the brightness a little or adjusting the color slightly in PR, can make your video look way better, and it will make your AE effects blend in seamlessly instead of looking out of place. Now let's talk about audio. This is super important, and it's all done in PR. You won't need AE for audio, since PR is great for audio editing. Bad audio can ruin a great video, but good audio and PR can make an average video feel professional. People are more likely to watch a video with okay visuals and good audio than a video with great visuals, even with AE effects and bad audio. So, taking time to fix your audio in PR is totally worth it, before you even think about adding AE effects. Start by listening to your whole video in PR. Close your eyes if you want, so you can focus only on the sound. Listen for any annoying noises in PR. Background hum, like a fan, or AC, wind noise, if you shot outside, static, or any other sounds you don't want. Also, check if the volume is consistent in PR, like one clip is too quiet and another is too loud, and if there are any weird silences between clips. Fixing these in PR first will make your video sound clean, and it will let your AE effects shine without being overshadowed by bad audio. First, get rid of any unwanted noise in PR. PR has a simple noise reduction tool. You can find it in the Effects panel under Audio Effects, Denoise, that can soften background sounds without messing up the main audio, like people talking. You don't need to mess with complicated settings in PR. Just drag the denoise effect onto the audio clip, adjust the slider a little, and make the audio sound cleaner and easier to listen to. For example, if there's a low hum in an interview clip in PR, use the denoise effect to make that hum quieter so you can hear the talking better. Do all this in PR before moving to AE. AE isn't made for audio editing, so keep audio work in PR. Next, make sure the volume is the same throughout the video in PR. The most important thing is that people can hear the talking or voiceover clearly in PR. That should be the loudest part. If one clip is too quiet in PR, turn it up using the volume slider on the timeline. If it's too loud and sounds distorted, turn it down. Sudden changes in volume are really annoying. So take time to check every clip in PR and make sure the volume stays the same. You can also use PR's lumetri scopes or audio meters to make sure the volume is consistent. They're easy to use, even for beginners. If you're using background music in PR, which is a great way to make your video more fun, make sure it doesn't overpower the talking. Music should add to the mood in PR, not drown out what people are saying. A good tip is to turn the music down in PR when someone is talking, so it's just in the background, and turn it up a little during parts where there's no talking, like B-roll clips. This way, the music makes the video better in PR, and when you add AE effects, they'll work together to create a great viewing experience. Remember, AE is for visuals, PR is for audio and editing. Stick to that fangone to make things easier. Remember, good audio and PR can make even a simple video feel professional, while bad audio will make people click away, no matter how cool your AE effects are. Taking 10 extra minutes to fix your audio in PR is totally worth it, and it will make your AE effects look even better by letting the video's content shine. Once your audio sounds good and is consistent in PR, and your rough cut is polished, it's time to start thinking about AE adding simple effects to make your video stand out. But first, Watch your whole video in PR one more time. This is your chance to fix any last mistakes in PR before moving to AE and to finalize which parts need AE effects. You don't want to send a clip to AE just to realize you need to cut it in PR later. Watch the video from start to finish in PR without stopping and try to watch it like someone who's never seen it before. Put yourself in their shoes. Does this keep your attention? Does it flow smoothly in PR? Are there any parts that are confusing, boring, or unnecessary? Is the message clear? And as you watch, note down the exact moments where an AE effect would help. Like a title screen at the beginning, a text overlay to highlight a key point, or a small animation to make a B-roll clip more interesting. Keep AE effects simple. You don't need to overcomplicate things to make your video look good. Take notes as you watch in PR. Write down any parts that are weird, like an awkward cut, a volume issue, a clip that looks different, or a part that's too long. Then go back and fix those things one by one in PR. You might need to watch it a few times in PR. Each time you watch, you'll notice new things to fix, and that's normal. Editing in PR is all about making small changes to get it just right. Even pros do this. Once PR is perfect, you can move to AE with confidence, knowing your base video is solid. As you make your video better in PR, focus on the small details. Check for tiny gaps between clips in PR. Even a split second of black can be distracting. Look for cuts that don't flow well in PR, and listen for small audio problems, like a volume jump you missed. These little things might seem unimportant in PR, but they add up. Fixing them in PR will make your video look more professional and polished, and it will make your AE effects look more intentional, not like a last-minute add-on. Now let's talk about using AE to add simple, cool effects. This is where your video will go from good to great, without being complicated. Remember, AE is for adding visual effects, not for editing clips. That's PR's job. So, we'll keep AE simple. Focus on small, effective effects that enhance your PR edit, not overshadow it. You don't need to be an AE pro to do this. We'll use basic AE tools that even beginners can master. First, how to send clips from PR to AE. It's super easy. In PR, select the clip or clips you want to add effects to on the timeline. Right-click and select Replace with After Effects Composition. This will open AE automatically. And your PR clip will be in AE's project panel. You can then add effects in AE, and when you save and close AE, the clip will update automatically in PR. It's a seamless workflow. PR handles the editing, AE handles the effects, and they work together perfectly. This is one of the best things about using PR and AE together. You don't have to export and re-import clips, which saves time. For AE effects, stick to simple ones that are easy to do, but make a big difference. For example, adding a text overlay in AE. Open AE, create a new text layer. Type your text, like a title or a key point, and add a simple animation, like a fade-in or a slide-in. You can find basic text animations in AE's animation menu. Just click Animate and choose a simple effect. Another easy AE effect is a slight glow on a clip. Select the clip in AE, go to the Effects panel, search for Glow, and adjust the slider to make it subtle. You can also add a simple color grade in AE if you want. But remember, most color correction should be done in PR first. The key is to keep AE effects simple. Don't overdo it, or they'll distract from the video. A cool trick that pros use with PR and AE. Even after you add AE effects, go back to PR and check the flow. Make sure the AE effect fits with the pace of the video in PR. If the video is fast-paced, keep AE effects quick and snappy. If it's slower, use softer AE effects like fades. Also, in PR, you can adjust the timing of the AE clip to make sure the effect lines up perfectly with the footage. For example, if you added a text overlay in AE that fades in, make sure it fades in right when the key moment happens in PR. This little attention to detail will make your video look super polished.